Hey, and welcome back at cloudbackupping.com and another in-action video on a cloud storage and online backup provider. And as you can see, I'm right in the middle of a backup process here. And this time I'm going to talk about JustCloud and how JustCloud works. Probably you've seen my previous video where I talked in general about JustCloud's functionality and features. And this time we're going to have a look at the features in action. So here you can see that I am backing up a folder that contains over 200 gigabyte and I'm 97% through, and obviously you have to be patient if you want to upload such quantities of data because depending on your internet connection this can take weeks. But before this process is actually finished and we're going to have a look at the data that has been backed up, let's have a look at some of JustCloud's features here. So with a click on Backup Settings, you can enter into the Settings menu where you find, for example, the Backup Schedule item. The standard backup schedule is daily, and this is actually enough for most of the users because you do not change the folders that much that you want to back up. Or if you want to be more flexible, you can back up to an hourly schedule, which costs extra, unfortunately. But what is more important is how you select your files. So you can have an automatic selection, which is the backup documents folder, and it will back up automatically everything that you have in the document folder. But I would always go for the manual backup selection to be sure that you grab all the important files that you want to back up. And another important thing that is not mentioned in the JustCloud menu is that you have to switch the maximum file size up to unlimited to be sure to back up every file you have, because standard is that it's set to 1 megabyte and you only will back up files that are less than 1 megabyte. And this is actually not a very good standard selection and people might be losing data that way. So I encourage you to go into backup settings, backup selection, and then switch the slide to unlimited. Also, when you are in the Security tab, make sure that you have HTTPS activated. That encrypts your connection to JustCloud and avoids that some hacker or some unauthorized user might interfere with your data. And then JustCloud will encrypt the data again on their service with a 256 AES encryption method. So this is pretty secure from that end. But let's switch back to the backup selection menu that I can show you in depth how the selection would work if you wanted to select a folder that is pretty important to you, as I did with my 200 gigabyte project folder here. So with a click on Edit Selection, you enter into the File Selection menu, which is quite easy to use, but nevertheless, I'm going to just go quickly here through the method how you can select your files. Within the File menu, you find this little browser where you can just check or uncheck the folders that you want to back up. So you can see in my case, this folder, Dubbings, is selected, and every file, any folder in that folder will be automatically backed up. So I could go and select another folder that I want to back up. For example, the Downloads folder, or I could go to another folder, for example, the Documents folder. And here on the right-hand side, you can find all the contents of that folder and select individual files if you do not want to back up the whole content. So you have a great variety of features and flexibility in terms of what kind of data you want to back up. So you can save bandwidth if you are, for example, on a slow internet connection or have a slow PC or Mac. Then you can just throttle that here a little bit. So we can see that now my backup is pretty much finished, and now we want to have a look at the restore process and how we can actually have a look at our files online. That means that I can have access to my files wherever I go and also share the files with other users. So let's head back into Chrome and the Chrome file browser and go into my JustCloud account here. And as you can see, it is pretty easy to understand how to use the internal web client. So you have your PC or Mac that you want to back up, and you can view your files online, meaning you can also access your files online and browse the files and check whether everything is there and even share folders with colleagues, friends, or family. Okay, but now let's exit out of the file browser and dedicate our little video tutorial here to the most important part of your backup routine. What happens when your hard drive actually fails? Of course, you want to restore your files. And now we are having a look at how this is going to work with JustCloud. So we head back to the JustCloud client and click on Restore File. So this is pretty easy to use, and you really do not have to mess around with some complicated settings. Now you select your machine that you have backed up with JustCloud. You can also back up multiple machines at additional costs, but this is also possible with JustCloud. And you can see the file tree again and select the folder, the whole folder, or select just individual folders and files to back up. Say, for example, you're working on a very important project, and suddenly your hard drive fails and you cannot access your PC anymore. But you need your data fast and cannot afford to wait until a 200 gigabyte backup is restored, because this is going to take a while, even if you have a super fast internet connection. So you can uncheck the files that you do not need and restore only particular files from your backup selection that you are in need right now. So at the right-hand side, you can again see the different files, and I can now say, okay, I want to restore only the Part 6 folder, and click on Restore Selected Files. And JustCloud gives me the opportunity to save the files in a new folder, for example. I would just create now a folder called JustCloud Restore that I know that these are the files that I've been restoring with JustCloud, and I click on Choose, and that's basically it. You can see here the overall progress of your restore. And I really like that overview, so I know exactly which file is being restored and when, and I can see also how much gigabyte are left to be restored. I do not want to restore the whole 1.73 gigabyte here, so I'm just going to cancel the progress and see whether the files are already there, at least partially. So what I do is I browse the location where I stored it. So I was in the cloud backupping folder, and here you can see the JustCloud Restore, and it automatically tells you the date, or it adds the date to the folder name, and you can see the beautiful file tree here, and there are already those WAV files that I've been desperately needing for continue working on my project. So, and obviously this works with any file and any folder that you might want to restore. Okay, hopefully I could show you that JustCloud is pretty easy to use, that it's so easy to store your data in the cloud and be safe of hard drive failure. And if you have any questions, or if you are a user of JustCloud and want to share your opinion and your experience with that service, please do leave a comment and I'll get back to you. And also stay tuned for other online backup and cloud storage videos here on cloudbackupping.com. If you like this video, please give it your like on YouTube and share it on Facebook and all other social media that you are using. So thank you very much. I'm Mauricio for cloudbackupping.com, and we're going to see us next time.